Konnichiwa. Hi everyone, this is Greg from Greg's Whiskey Guide. Bonjour. And yes, this is the second episode of 3 for now. But you will see others about Japanese whiskies for sure. This one is about Yoichi distillery, founded in 1934 in Hokkaido Island of Japan, which I forgot, and yeah, apologies for a previous episode about the knowledge statement Yoichi, because I had before going to the tasting, otherwise it would be tricky for my stomach and liver, etc. I don't recommend abuse of alcohol once again. Yeah, I had to restart 4 times the introductory presentation of the distillery, so because I had issues with my computer to switch from several things I had, information, tasting notes, etc. I had about Yoichi over the years, and a lot of important information I didn't print. In between now I did print some, but I have to be quick on that because we have a lot of tastings once again to do. I did correct under the description of the video about some issues, dates and mistakes. So once again, when I spoke about anniversary releases of Nikka Taketsuru Pure Malt, it's related to the 80th anniversary and not 70th anniversary. That's just to correct. In one of the versions I showed you the map of Japan, and in the remaining one it was not in there, so there you have it. As you can see, Yoichi is there, up there north, not far from Sapporo. Yoichi is a city as well. It's one of the 4 islands, big islands, I mean, or smaller ones too, of Japan, and this one is the most remote from Tokyo, which is southern there, and also the climate is the most extreme in winter, with snow, as I showed you in the previous episode, and here the picture on there of Yoichi under the snow. And prior to a few years ago, Yoichi was the only distillery in Hokkaido Island, and now there's Akeshi, not to be confounded with Akashi, a brand which I will cover another time. Review 3 whiskies of. And also, yeah, the Nikka Whiskey Distilling Company, founded by Masataka Taketsuru, also owns Miyagi-kyo. It's weird with the colors, I always struggle to notice evident things. Where is Miyagi-kyo? Yeah, because I place it always southern than it is. Miyagi-kyo is there. You have also, I just mentioned it but I didn't explain, this is a closed distillery now, Nishinomiya, which is southern, near to Osaka. Nishinomiya was the grain distillery from the Nikka company to do those blended whiskies I talked and showed you last time. Nishinomiya ceased its activities at some point. Not sure now of the date, once again. Lack of double checking of mine, but I know that around, if I'm not mistaken, 1973, Miyagi-kyo was founded. Miyagi-kyo, you can see here the knowledge statement. I will cover it in another video. But Miyagi-kyo is a second distillery, malt distillery founded by the Nikka group, and 4 or 5 years after I think its foundation, it did host, because it's bigger than Yoichi, it did host the grain facilities to concentrate everything at the same place, and they can do a lot of different kinds of malts and grains there. That's it for the map thing. A few additional informations before we get to the proper tasting. Yeah, I talked to you about the stills. I struggled to show you a picture of it, but I found one, and I did post it in Instagram. So if you head over to my Instagram, Greg's Whiskey Guide, you will see a picture in sepia with some effects from someone called François Morel, which did the picture. It's not I never went to Japan, but here you can see in the middle, it's a bit cut, I'm sorry, but you can see the wide stills with the line arm, which is descending a lot, but not in every still. So you see there's always some variations on those Japanese distilleries, especially I would say the historical ones from the Nikka group and also the Suntory group. Few other facts before starting that I forgot to mention. Yeah, they say they can produce at Yoichi between various pitting levels, yeast strains, fermentation time, distillation methods and maturation types. They can produce over 3,000 different types of malt whiskey. I don't know if it's true, but it was they say, and it's what Malt Whiskey Yearbook did relay. The information I forgot to tell you is the updates about the production, and it says in 2021 the construction of the warehouse number 29. So you see I told you about 28 warehouses, there are 29 now, but this one is has a racking system, probably more secure than the ones in Europe because of the earthquake risk I told you about. And that one has a capacity of 7,000 casks. So they're now really working on expansion and replacing the lack of the shortage, thinking of it at last. So they said last time a new warehouse was added to Yoichi complex was 32 years ago. So quite a bit of stock has been laid down over the past few years. Now, yeah, I talked to you about the Nikka Discovery. I just forgot to the 2021 releases to mention that it was this name Discovery for the expressions I talked to you about. Also, what I forgot to mention is 50 millions per, I don't know if it's yen or dollars or euros, sorry, yeah, 50 million euros investments between 2019 and 2021 to reinforce production at Yoichi and Miyagi-Kyo Distillery. And they're working, I don't know in English, once again, I struggle. They produce all day, all week long, what we say in French, les 3-8. The 3-8, that means continuously their rotation between the teams. So yeah, and once again, for those who didn't see the first episode, I will put a link at the end of the video, and there will be also links under the video. But know that most probably what the Nikka company tells us is that they probably gonna be back to full production in 2030, and it will be 30, 31 or 2. Yeah, they will be able to bring you back this. We're gonna try today, and that I just tried quickly last time to compare it with this, which is the only current core range Yoichi at the moment available, no age statement. The others are all limited editions and quite expensive, if you want to know my opinion about it. And that's it for this episode. I did extend what was previous before, and if you have a good eye, sorry my camera is still not the best one, you might notice bottles that should not be there. Oh, what's this, a Springbank, a Highland Park, and not even one available today in its form? Yes, there is a reason for that. Stay tuned and you will discover why. Okay, now on to the tasting. First one I'm gonna try, as I said, is the 2000 It's yeah, 2010 if I'm not mistaken. Lots of information, lots of difficulty to honestly to be able to tell you, despite the code, the batch code. It's very difficult to get the exact year of production, so I can only give you guesses. It could be a 2010 bottling. So this Yoichi is, contrarily to the knowledge statement currently available, is discontinued. Everything we're going to write today, Japanese whiskey wise, I'm sorry, is discontinued. So I might do this disclaimer first. I'm sorry for the amateurs around the world that would be interested in those whiskies. While their prices at their launch were not specifically cheap, to be honest, and for some of them I had to wait for some discount, or for others you will see in the next episode it was gifts. They were gifted to me by friends, not by the company. Never by the company. So in this case, I mean, and I will disclose it anyway when it happens. So the 10 years old, I don't know exactly when it was launched. Let me double check, but I'm absolutely not sure we're gonna see it there. I told you the 12 years old was launched in 1984, but what I forgot to tell you is it was first called Hokkaido single malt, not Yoichi single malt, right? No, they don't say it, it's difficult. What I told you last time, and I can repeat it quickly, it's the first Yoichi whiskey that came out of the distillery was in 1940, while the distillery was founded in 1934. Right. Those bottles used to have in the beginning a beautiful, I kept one but it's a bit remote now in the reserve. They used to have a beautiful kind of compressed silicone, especially for food, designed for food protection. I mean, complies with food. And then on top a beautiful wooden cork. So a stopper made of partly plastic and partly of real wood. But now they're all screw caps. Since, let's say, 2012-13, they all came out with screw caps, and this half opaque brown bottle, that's also the trademark, and also it's the same bottle as the Ben Nevis, which they own. But to be very clear, for the new audience, new to Japanese whiskey, all the Yoichis I'm talking to you about, last time, this time, next time, and the Miyagi Kyos, they're all 100% Japanese. They're not Ben Nevis. Ben Nevis, they import it, and they put it at 75% of the production for the blended whiskies and blended malt, and not all blended malts, and not all blend whiskies, right? Okay, these disclaimers done. This I bought in 2010. There was a discount, originally 59 euros, then 45 with a discount. I watched the price at some point. I have them. I can give you them on demand of how much they are available in France. But what's the point? Because we know the stock, La Maison de Whisky, for instance, and other retailers have. They let's be polite, they follow the secondary market price. So this 10 years old that you should find around 60 euros normally, you're probably gonna find it 4 times this price, and it is not worth, once again, cracking your wallet for this at that price. The 12 I saw somewhere was around 390, which is insane. Which was not even the price of the 20 years old that I don't have. The 15 years old I'm gonna try, it's even more expensive. I saw it at 1,000 euros, which is insane. But yeah, it's, alas, until 10-15 years from now you won't be able to find those at decent price, and even I'm not sure. Right, so I have my notes in case I want to update things or correct. What I was going to tell you, and I've been interrupted by myself, is that they're chill filtered and colored, but not the single cask, normally the limited editions. But those ones we're going to try today are all chill filtered and colored. Before the batch number was written there, as you can see, the code of the batch number, but on the new releases, not of those age statement, but for instance there, yeah, it's very hard to see. Yeah, you won't be able to see it now. It's there engraved on the bottom of the bottle, and it's very difficult to read. But so these are some of the changes. Now on to the tasting. I'm gonna by the way, all the glasses are covered. This one with no nonsense whiskey. There's also, you will see Whiskey Novice, Certified Originals, New Drum Drinker, Whiskey Shared. So a little wink to the whiskey community there. Right, let's go now with this. Color wise, they're all I would say they're all gold, dark gold to amber, light amber, but as it is, there's some artificial color. We will rather speak of viscosity than real color. Viscosity is quite high. The legs are sticking sometime, but then quickly fading. Not sure you can see them. I have to find a system someday to let you see it. Right, let's get some more and on the nose. So this episode I will speak to you more about the house style that was in the premises in the no age statement, the different versions I tried, but this is more evident here and even more as we progress to the 12 and 15 years old. Once again, I don't have the 20 years old. I will speak about the 20 years old, and the single casks I will review in the last episode of the 3. So immediately the trademark heather, kind of heather honey, but also coffee honey in a way. Coffee with Demerara sugar, as I told you last time. So this is a complex and super balanced nose, the palate as well for all the 3, I have to tell you already. So lots of things going on there. There's this kind of the peat, by the way, I still don't have the correct information, but my guess is between 20 to 30, except for some heavily peated, named as such, limited releases. The peat, I forgot to mention, is from Japan. There's lots of peat bugs there. This is gorgeous. Dark black tea, dark fruits, ripe fruits. Ripe dried fruits, raisins, figs, dates, not in this one, in others. There's some gentle oak. Lot in my old notes I mentioned that's true. A note of prune. On the nose and on the palate, some floral notes, a touch of sherry, some precious wood, yeah, so quite complex. Oh, just a second. Okay. Oh yeah, so now I'm starting to get some earthy peat. And a very tiny hint of struct matches. Not really sulfur. So it's a mix of new oak and all the range, except when the specific releases Limited. They have a mix of new oak, most probably American oak, and not Mizunara like I thought in the early days. They don't use Mizunara except for limited release I won't be aware of. It's Suntory and Ichiro's malt that use more Mizunara for some expressions and even for some blends than Nikka and Yoichi, for instance. Yeah, we're starting to see something I won't mention because it's more present in the 12, the 15, and in the single cask I will cover after. Yeah, let's go on the palate now. Enough said. Kampai. Wow, I love that. Oh, fucking hell. Sorry. All it's about, all Yoichi starts to be there. More clearly, I have to say, than the Noich statement. Why? Because it's 10 years old, and probably my guess is there are older than 10 years old casks in there. Probably some 12, 15, maybe a slightly more aged few ones. This gives a lot of depth. I tasted the Yoichi new make, by the way. I forgot to mention last time, and it's very interesting, very complex, very floral. Strangely, doesn't come across as peated, really, but it is. And yeah, everything related to smoke and peat develops with the aging, and not coming across really balanced until 6 to 8 years old, in my opinion. Long story. This time, in order not to make infusions that I almost done, it was a bit tricky last time. I'm not gonna go from the one to the other, nose wise and taste wise, except for the comparisons with Scotches I will do for 2 expressions. Right. Okay, so last sip and then a touch of water. I have to mention it. So now there's something coming in shyly, but it's a bit more evident in the older expressions. There's a very specific note to Yoichi, which is mire, la mire en français, and this note is also, in my opinion, but differently because of the kind of heather honey that I feel there, and I don't have in the other Scotches I will mention. This is not so far from Lagavulin, this is not so far from Port Charlotte, because what else? Ardbeg, not really. There's something earthy and green that starts to express there, and also something that's not matchable. That's why it's very recognizable in blind tasting, and so far I always recognize Yoichi. It has an incense note coming from the peated malt that is very unique, and I'm crazy about this note. So yeah, incense. So quite a complex whiskey and quite an interesting one. I'm adding water. Did I say they're all bottled at 45% ABV and not 46, like some could think? Even the Noich statement is bottled at 45% ABV. Why? I don't know. Yeah, more floral notes. It's a complex bouquet. It is hard to pin one flower in particular. I will say, personally, I sense some lilac in there. Slight, of course, heather, and Slight violet maybe, but it's not like Bowmore, for instance. It could be, but Bowmore is more maritime than Yoichi. Wow. Sorry. Dark chocolate. Forgot to mention. Beautiful dark chocolate. By the way, if you have one of those, you can have it with a square, a piece of chocolate, of dark chocolate. It will be absolutely amazing pairing. Right. So there you have it, the premises of the greatness of Yoichi in the 10 years old. Sorry for the mic. Now we're going to move on to the 12, which is one of my very favorite whiskies of my collection. Retailing at that time, this one is from 2011. I'm sorry, it's an old one again. And this time it displays the distillery there. I showed you last time the distillery by Winter. It's the same as the poster that's behind me. I showed you also, this is the uniqueness of Yoichi, one of the very few and one of the even more few malt whiskey distilleries working with coal. There are still some rum distilleries I know working with coal, but for whiskey distilleries it's very complicated because you have to maintain the temperature, and like I said last time, they have to fill up the coal into the oven under the still every 7 or 8 minutes. So quite a crazy work. So we got a 12 which changed packaging over the years, but you can see mentions of the barley, then of the oh, you see the stills there, by the way. It's a bit blurry, but you can see the stills, you can see the external view. You can see for those times it's all Japanese in there, and the front box used to be more beautiful, but it's only around 2000, if I'm not mistaken, 13, 14, that they did change the box to the kind of origami style. This one is for the there you have the stills with that particular good fortune little paper things you can see there. Very specific to Japanese distilleries. So yeah, origami style box is the one you can see now for the Taketsurus, by the way. Right, I love all that, and these kanjis. So yeah, moving on to the 12, which is stunning, and it's lots of legs, very I don't know if you can see them. I didn't move too fast, maybe. Quite sticky, those. It's a little bit darker. It's beginning to be a bit on the amber style. Amber. Yeah, this is another league. This is one of the cases where the 12 is way up the 10, which is not bad at all. Rating wise, I forget to mention, for the 10 I was I'm gonna correct it a bit because it's been a long time. Just a second. Okay, hope it wasn't cut. 89.5 out of 100 for the 10 years old. So this one is quite complex. It's the previous one notes, but multiplied by 2 or 3 in intensity and in presence and elegance. There's something more spirity in the good sense of it, more powerful, despite same ABV. There's something now. Where do I have the 12 there? I have so many things about Yoichi there that yeah, this one I had it for. There was a little discount, but if we don't take the discount, it was 98 euros. So 2011 was not cheap. I have a backup bottle which was bargain, because at some point nobody wanted to buy it in the supermarket. I saw them for years, and they discounted at 60 euros, 60 or so, which was very interesting. So same price as the 10. Yeah, it has something heavy, more I would say not heady really, but you can feel more the spirit. It's hard to explain. The prune comes across stronger, the coffee in a way, and less sugared. Everything comes across more genuine. There's some black tea, Earl Grey tea. Yeah, it's more earthy, because also it's a more green, but everything about the forest. So the vegetation, I mean the forest moss, the mushrooms, some dark black mushrooms, some tea leaves, some cigar, of course, also, I forgot to mention for the 10. Some kind of, I did an initiation, I'm not a cigar specialist, mind you, but some kind of, I have some memories of double Corona cigars. So this noble tobacco leaves taste. It's what I and smell. It's what I can say of my modest experience. Coiba also comes to mind. That's what I heard. And we did a tasting with this and those cigars, by the way, so the connections I can give them by my memories, okay, which are not perfect, but I can give you these analogies, because I brought these whiskies to a friend, which alas, it's not, it's departed, it's not among us now, so it's also a tribute to him, Frédéric. Very sad story, very good friend. So here's to the ones we lost. Yeah, okay, let's move to the palate. Such a complete experience. One of the most complex single malts around at that time. Super classy, such a personal character, distinctive character, such a great depth of flavors, and floral, fruity, earthy, green, smoky, kind of ashy, getting a bit ashy now. But not dry, so it's something still a bit mellow. It's a half sweet, half dry palate. It's hard to explain, but it's complete. There's honey, there's tea leaves, tobacco leaves, dark chocolate, lots of things, dried fruits, some candied fruits as well. Yeah, some noble, slight sandalwood as well. The oak is fantastic, absolutely one of the best. I could have made the comparisons, but the versions I wanted to do comparisons of Stratailla Speyside Distillery are not in my collection, unfortunately, at the moment. But I will do one. What comes to mind for me is this Highland Park 18. It's one of the whiskies. This one is from before 2007, mind you, so old core range. This whiskey for me, one of the most complex whiskey of the world. In that batch recipe is for me, has something for me of Yoichi, or it's the country, of course, date wise, I mean history wise. And I'm gonna do a quick comparison. Don't worry, you will see other reviews of Highland Parks and Springbanks later on my channel, but just wanted to do a quick comparison there. Yeah, it's not so far. It's less earthy, it's less deep, it's less chocolatey, tobacco-y than the Yoichi. But we have a common tronc commun, we have a common ground there for sure, in my opinion. This is quite close actually. This has less power. The 45, 43 plays something. Maybe also because the bottle is open for a long time, but it's almost, I think it's same level than here. I don't remember if I guessed the Highland Park or used the pump, the wine pump, to put off the air. I should now. But yeah, it's really beautiful, super, as complex as this one, I think. So there you have it, a comparison, which has to be taken with a pinch of salt, but you see where I'm going to. One of the most complex malts of the planet, and it was only 12 years old. Yet again, like Whiskey Novice says, yet again, I think there are older content in there than 12 years old, but I can't be sure. It's gonna be a long video again, I'm afraid, my friends, but it might be worth. Did I put some water in there? No. Just give you, let's give you a bit of a insight with a bit of water of the 12. It's, you can sip this reasonably responsible, drink responsibly please, but you can sip a 4, 5, 6 cl all the evening. It's this kind of treasure, in my opinion. Such a seductive dram with that super intricate notes of earthy peat, dark chocolate, demerara sugar, tobacco leaves, but not blown tobacco, real darker ones, deeper and more complex, like the Cuban cigars, the Cohiba, the double corona and all that, and also this really beautiful tea. Yeah, I forgot to mention some candied citrus fruit, maybe some quince. Did I mention cedra as well, which I still don't know the name in English? Forgot to double check, I'm sorry. Yeah, this hint, really tiny, because I'm noticing it right away. If there is some super tiny notes of cedar and eucalyptus, but it's super tiny. Doesn't come across a lot. Yeah, lilac, I noted lilac. Yes, there's beautiful malted barley. Almost some chocolate malt, but it isn't. This is awesome. This is, let me see if I change my rating, which might surprise you. Again. No, I don't want to change it. 95 out of 100, I'm sorry. C'est comme ça, voilà. Like it or not. These are my notes in French on another batch, and it's the same. It's so good, it's so impressive. Licorice, I forgot to mention licorice. Ginger, 5 berries, pepper. Whoa, whoa, so many things. So many things. It's not gonna be surprising. Now we're gonna move on to the 15, which is also discontinued. Everything there, I'm sorry, is discontinued. So it's more for people who are curious and who wants more collectors maybe point of view, or who will maybe look for it in hopefully not too much secondary market prices. This one displays, I just noticed that because I don't drink those very often, because the 15, for instance, I don't have a backup bottle. Well, and it's I did open it a year ago only, I think. No, 2014. I'm surprised. I thought I've opened it more recently. This one was honestly around 115 euros, and due to some discount I managed to get, I had it for 103. I'm afraid you have to add a 0 now. What can I say? My friends, you're in good company with this one. Let me tell you. Slightly darker. This is a pleasure to do this video, I have to say. For some reasons, the legs are super tiny and getting very quickly down. Maybe it's a filtration question. Maybe it's more heavily chill filtered than the previous one, I wonder. Back label, I forgot to show you back label. Once again, it's the modern ones, so you don't see the batch numbers. Even this one, in the previous 12 years old I had maybe 2 or 3 other bottles, and once again the code here is engraved on the front. You will have all the references, don't worry, by the way, in the description of the video. Oof. This one is more struck matches notes and more sulfury sherry. Not excessive. It's not some Edredars or some Aberlours or whatever super high level and I forgot my words. Sulfur. This one is more on the austere side than the 12, and we'll see how it goes, and we will compare it to another austere but beautiful Scottish whiskey. Yeah, so the at that stage I tried other times at the 15, but it's because my bottle is not super oxygenated, I have to say. I won't guess this one because I want it to be I should have waited more and not topped with the coin maybe for the tasting, but I can't tell you, it's quite nice. Then secondary notes on the nose, you will get all the notes I said for the 12. I'm not going to repeat it to maybe save a bit time. So floral, fruity, earthy, more dry, more peated, a bit more, slightly more farmy than the 2 others. So, but still rich. I prefer the nose of the 12 by far, though. On the palate, sorry. Not bad at all. But I sense There's less viscosity in there, and my guess is there's more chill filtering there than for the 12 I have, which I don't like the idea. There's less savory, plain, umami, whatever you call it, satisfaction on the, but it's still super good. There's more oak, but it's still super beautiful and balanced. It's a bit more earthy. There's way more dark chocolate in there. A bit drying on the finish. That is why I wanted to compare it. And believe me or not, it wasn't not planned before today. And I want to compare it with these. Highland Park Springbank 15, Campbelltown. Campbelltown, like I said in the previous episode, has been visited as well by Masataka Taketsuro, the founder of this distillery, and I believe when he chose the location to replicate Scottish climate for this first distillery in north east of Japan, I believe he had in mind Springbank or Highland Park or Ben Nevis or both, because there's something about it that's close to the Scottish distilleries I evoked. This is personal, this is guesses, this is not information. The previous one was a Nika glass. There's an engraving that's too small to show on my cam. This one, unfortunately, I enjoy Tulamordu, don't get me wrong, is not a Japanese glass, so but I like those small Copita sized glass, which I recommend, as well as the nosing glass. Many of you prefer the Glencairns, it's okay, but I'm less at ease with it, especially because I need a stem. This one is more moderated on the dark chocolate, on the nose, on the teaish side, which is very Yoichi and Highland Parky, on the green elements as well, the forest things is less, on the nose at least, less pronounced. But there's still this classy, a bit funky thing that common to both, I would say. Whoa. Alright, it's a more austere Springbank, but there's more funk, the kind of farmy, diesel-y thing, and not so diesel in there. It's not Glen Scotia, the old 12, for instance. When I mean the old is before 2010. Yeah, this one has more funk, but on the dark fruits, on the chocolate a bit, and some dry oak, and there's something in common. But that's when the comparison stops. I want to try now to end this video, the 15, with drops of water, and we'll wrap it up. Before, for next episode, I will cover 2 exceptional single cask, and I'm sorry for those who cannot try it or buy it even more. One of you YouTubers who came visit me did try one of those 2. Lucky him. I don't know if he really realized what he had in the glass, to be honest, because he didn't try all the range before, and we tried other things, but I think it was a rare opportunity. And I don't have a backup for those collectors' single casks, I have to say, unfortunately. There are 4 numbers prices now, so how could I? So Yoichi 15 with a few drops of water. This is still beautiful. Shall I change my rating? Develops a bit, it gets less dry, that's almost all it does, but this has less body than the 12. I'm surprised. I didn't really do a comparison before, to be honest. So am I keeping the 92 out of 100? I think yes, but I won't go further. So you can see, as surprising as it can be, the highest score of the 3 is the 12, that I maintain 95 out of 100. Bearing in mind, in my rating I go up to 100. So I tend, and I have a subjective note of 0 to 20 points, where the 8 other factors, if I'm not mistaken, are out of 10 only. So this tends to modify to increase the note compared to some other reviewers. So if you go to a scale like Serge Valentin of Whisky Fun, for instance, which is still a reference for me, more than YouTubers, I'm sorry guys, I will give it, if it was, I think if it was Serge, will give it an 88 maybe to this, and to the 12 maybe we'll give I don't remember his scoring, but probably give it something around 90 or 88, or, well, never mind, it's me for now, I'm sorry, it's only me. And what can I say, those 3 are beautiful, but the one, if you want to spend a bit money, you can, otherwise please don't. If you want to invest, go to the 12. It's my advice. Still good, but the 12 years old beats it, in my opinion. Thanks for watching. I hope it was interesting and not too frustrating, despite the fact many of you won't be able to try these whiskies. It's life, but still you have some quality there, believe me or not, and this is worth the 70 or so euros you can spend on it. It comes across well to showcase the at least for now, the distillery house style. Thanks for watching, hope you're well, and see you next time about Yoichi for 2 exceptional single casks. Thank you.